It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica, and it is officially official now. Tom Brady is retiring. The 7-time Super Bowl champion announced on his Instagram account this morning he is hanging it up after 22 years. Reports surfaced about his retirement over the weekend, but he pumped the brakes, saying he had not yet made a decision. Now it has come from the man himself. Two more Titans players are headed to Vegas for the Pro Bowl. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons and left guard Roger Saffold. Simmons had 8.5 sacks and 12 TFLs this past season. He'll replace Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones, who's out with an injury, and it'll be Saffold's first career Pro Bowl in 12 years. He replaces Colts guard Quentin Nelson, who is also out with an injury. That duo will join outside linebacker Harold Landry and all-pro safety Kevin Byard in Vegas. 4 Titans playing in the Pro Bowl, and they will be playing for Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff, who will lead the AFC against Packers head coach Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers staff coaching the NFC. Transfer portal news in college football. Former Oklahoma quarterback Caleb Williams is transferring to USC. He will join his former head coach at OU, Lincoln Riley. The Preds are back in Bridgestone tonight after a 3-game road trip and a 5-day break, hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Preds expected to get Ellie Tolvanen and Dante Fabro back in the lineup tonight. Nashville is second in the Central Division. College hoops tonight. Number 22 Tennessee is back in Knoxville after falling at Texas over the weekend. The 14-6 Vols jumping back into SEC play. They host 15-6 Texas A&M for a 6 p.m. tip-off. Catch the Vol Network coverage starting at 5:30 right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
I know. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. My son asked me yesterday, is it Wednesday? I said, no, it's Monday, but tomorrow is Tuesday. Well, today is yesterday, is tomorrow, and it's Tuesday. So happy Tuesday, everybody. It's Tuesday. It seems like it's Thursday or something to me. You ever have those nights where you look around and you've done all this stuff and all this, like especially in the wintertime, and then something comes up about what time is it? You look and it's like 7:03. And you think it's 11:15. Y'all ever, Lucas, you're young. Do you ever have that? Where you just lose track of time?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
See, you're not selling it.
For me, it's like when I look at the clock and it's 7, I'm like, oh, it's early. And then at like 9 or 10, I start to think maybe it's time to think about going to bed. And then 11 or 12, I'm probably in bed.
See, I think you just nailed that. Young people look and think, oh, I got all the time in the world, all the time. Because metaphorically in life, you've got all the time in the world. But I can remember being your age, and like my buddy called me at 9 o'clock, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to wait about another hour, and then let's meet at, wherever we would have been meeting 20 years ago. And now I'm like, it's what? Is it not Wednesday? What? What are we? It's 7:01? I thought it was 11:30. What?
Well, when are you eating dinner? Because I'm probably eating dinner at 7 o'clock.
Nah, we got little people, so we eat pretty early. We eat pretty early. When you got rabble, we're not like, hitting the we're not fighting over steak at the buffet line like the news story that's out now at 4:30, but we eat pretty early. When you got kids, man, you got stuff to do. You just eat, and then you wonder what time it is till it's time to go to bed.
Fair enough. What time? Yeah, we usually eat 6:30. Is that too early for you?
When I used to be on in the afternoon, we ate at like 6:30, 6:45 when I got home. But my whole clock got sped up, so maybe more like 5:30. And
you're going to go. You eat a lot, man. So you may go for round 2.
100%. I'm eating again before I go to bed. I brought Blaine this bag of almonds, and he's like, oh, thanks, man. I've had these before. I was like, I know. I was telling you because I eat these all the time now. I just eat, I'm trying not to eat like Twinkies. So I have this bag of almonds. I'm trying to be more like Tom Brady. It got him to playing football to 44.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go get them. Because they're right here. Meanwhile, the almonds have a slew of salt on them all over.
Of course they do, but they're almonds. This is JT, if you're listening, our old producer, JT, legend of the Zone.
Is it? Man, I need to go fix our camera?
It's
you're
2
good,
gram
you're good.
net carbs. I can't try
That's
any
what it says
harder
on
than that.
Quit believing what's on the bag.
I can't try any harder than that. JT, if he's listening, one day we were standing in the hallway and JT lost 100 pounds, just like Jason Martin.
Unbelievable. He lost a person.
We had multiple people at the radio station who lost a person's worth of weight. And I was like, man, I'm trying to do better. You know,
You're just trying to lose like 20, huh?
Well, I just want to weigh 167 or 8. It's like my target weight. And so I'm like
168.
So I'm like, man, I'm like 173. I said, I ate a banana yesterday for a snack. And JT looked at me and he was dead serious and he goes, man, you can't eat those things. They're full of sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I said, as God in heaven is my witness, if bananas are bad, then screw it. I'm going to buy a box of Twinkies. And now you're making fun of my nuts.
Yeah.
This
Somebody's making fun of your nuts there?
Yes. You said my
Why
nuts
would
were too
somebody
salty. Come on, man. Hitman said my nuts are too salty. Blue Diamond, he is down, by the way. Blue Diamond almonds. This is the best I can do. If I can't eat this in a banana, then screw it. I'm just going to have the worst stuff I can have.
I know your nuts are salty?
Because I brought you the sack so you can sample.
Oh, man.
This is your sack of nuts that I brought you.
Oh,
They're
man.
salty.
We need to practice what we're going to say next time. This is not good. Oh,
So if
man.
I can't eat this, it says it's heart healthy.
This is what happens when the
Smart
Titans,
eating.
The Titans lose, and they're not.
Oh, no. It's months of this coming. So hold on tight.
Oh, man.
It's months of this coming. So
man.
hold on tight.
You got me all hot and bothered now, man. Good Lord.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what's good for me to eat or not. I can't eat a banana, or my nuts have too much coating on them. They're smokehouse almonds.
Yeah.
It says on the bag, smart eating. It's a picture of a heart.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be healthy.
That's the 1 pound value bag. Enjoy.
So what time it is the Senior Bowl started today. That's what time it is. And then what, they got 2 weeks to the Super Bowl?
2 weeks of Super Bowl.
Hey, the biggest news is, TB12 retired. It's official. He said so.
You think Adam Schefter was like, thank you.
Well, I think Tom was like, I don't want to feel bad. And I think now it's gotten past it was the 1st, right? Today's February 1st. So,
Yep. By the way, police, if you're listening, my tags are in the mail. I bought them. So they're not here yet.
your tag. You January?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But I bought them. I told you, you and me were talking that one day. I'm like, hold on, man.
I want you to put a sticker over the top or a piece of paper and tape it on there and say, my tags are on the way.
I'm going to put a Post-it note on there.
Right.
Be a patrol car
But
waiting outside
you can
our
just go
parking
to
lot
like the
today.
rec center and there's a little robot there. And I was hoping it would talk in a robot voice. And I was kind of crushed it didn't say a word. But you just like scan your driver's license and it's like, yeah, man, your truck needs new tags. I'm like, here we go.
Oh.
So I'm like,
you're
pow,
not
pow,
on a
just-
reminder email?
I don't even think I get to remind. Maybe my wife gets it.
No, I don't either. My plates 2 years ago ended in March, and I went all the way to December, not knowing until I pulled up to the gas station, and a police friend of mine said, "Hey, Blaine, you know your tags are up." I said, "Well, I didn't get the reminder email."
He said, hey, man, we don't do that anymore.
That's what he said.
How hard is that?
I said, "Oh my gosh, I pulled up, man. I immediately drove right and got my tags, man. I couldn't believe it. I was so ashamed because I tried to say so organized, and it slipped my mind. I don't
But that's
know what happened.
automated, though. You can't just poop out an email the month that your tags are due.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh man," I said, "Oh man, thanks a lot." Yeah, he could have easily gave me a ticket.
Should have put a Post-it note on there, said applied for.
I was thinking about it, but I didn't because I drove immediately there. And then at that point in time, look, listen to this. I was nervous I was going to get pulled over. Meanwhile, I went like 6 months.
Right. But this 6-minute drive is what's going to finally get you.
It got me. Yeah, but it didn't. So, yeah, man. So Tom Brady retired so he can unretire and be a Titan. That's how I see this whole thing going down.
That dude is 44 years old. In his 44th year on this earth, he led the NFL in passing yards, over 5,300. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns, 43. He led the NFL in pass attempts, 719, and in passing yards per game. almost 313 yards. Wow. At 44 years old, which there's just never been anything like it. And there was Warren Moon played in his 40s, but he was a backup later in his career. And there was a guy, George Blanda, if you want to Google him. He played past Tom Brady, but he was more of a kicker. And I read here's Tom Brady, who hasn't eaten a Snickers bar, since 1984. And there's an interview with George Blanda who said he didn't play as well when he didn't smoke, so he had gone back to smoking
really?
in his 40s. Yes, because he said it just helped his game.
Helped his focus, huh?
Yeah, but that dude played in the 50s. He played in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. George Blanda, 40s. He was the original quarterback of the Houston Oilers.
Yeah, that's what you keep telling me.
Yeah, George Blanda. I don't remember that. I wasn't around for 1960. I do know what time
but
that
he played
is.
mostly with another team, right? What team?
He played mostly with the Raiders late in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he kind of bounced around a little bit. He was one of those guys at the AFL when it started. It gave him life because he couldn't really stick in the NFL. So it's like, well, come to this league. You can throw it 40 times a game. And this was 1960 when nobody did that. The AFL threw it all over the yard.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, they did. Yeah, that's why. Here we go. This is
so it's going
6
up,
shows
so
worth
it's
of
coming
material.
back then. That's coming back.
It's coming back to that because the NFL is the running league, and this is this is the way you play football and you run the eye. And no, AFL was like, no, man, we're going to draft Joe Namath, and he's going to throw it everywhere. So that's why quarterbacks and some skilled guys are like, I'll go play in this league. I mean, if the pay's the same, I'll go throw it around the yard. So that's what they did. But it was an exciting league. For sure. But Brady, we got a question up on Blaine and Mickey, and this is something we can talk about today during the course of the day. Is Brady the all-time GOAT? Because he's the football GOAT. There's just no arguing it.
You're talking about in all the sports.
Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Rafael Nadal, any Olympian gymnast from Russia that you might pick or whatever it is he the GOAT of all GOATs?
Well, you have to say this. The NFL is the biggest brand.
Yep.
And if he is the biggest in the NFL, I would say he may be the biggest GOAT. Even though, for whatever reason, I want to say Michael Jordan still. Maybe it's just because of the era I grew up in. Because, and then he's a billionaire. But his time has passed. So, he's in the... I want to say he is, but I don't know why I'm reluctant. The biggest GOAT. Yeah, he's got to be. He's got to be.
Derek says, yes, Tom Brady is the GOAT of GOATs in the Zone TV chat. Lonzo said, Blaine, that happened to me also. I went 5 years once with expired car tags. Lonzo, you rascal.
Oh, man. I said, dang it. I didn't get that. Did I miss the email? That sickened me, man. Yeah, March, and it was no more like November, December.
But I could see you being worried about oh, man, the revenue office is 6 miles from here. I'm going to get stopped.
Oh, man.
I'm going to drive extra careful.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, the GOAT don't have to worry about all that. Tom Brady, TB12, he won't be driving anywhere because they'll be driving him while he's sitting back in the back seat, relaxing.
7 titles for him, 6 for Jordan. Gretzky played 20 years, 4 titles. This is interesting because I looked it up about Wayne Gretzky. I knew there was some odd thing about him and records. Let me ask you this, and Lucas is on the phone. Do you know how many records that Wayne Gretzky holds in the National Hockey League? He either holds the record or he has it tied with somebody. Do you know this, Lucas? Usually one of you guesses the number. You guys amaze me. One of you always is pretty close.
Well, I'm never good at guessing.
Sometimes you are. Don't one of you always.
I got a 50-50 shot.
One of you always gets it.
Give me a range.
Wait, is it how many records he holds?
How many he holds or is tied with holding? Wayne Gretzky, who
Just
has
NHL records.
NHL records.
I'm going to say 36.
Can you give me is that high or low? Oh, that's a... Oh, man. I was going to say 18.
60.
What?
60.
You just lied to me.
I said higher. That's my poker
But you
tail.
didn't answer the question. I said, is it higher or lower?
Yeah, I said higher.
Oh.
I was trying to help you.
That nod.
That head nod.
Yeah, Lucas is in the
I
other
missed
room.
that.
I'm on
I
your
missed
team.
that.
I was
thought
trying to
you
help
give me
you.
the fake
I want
out.
you to beat Lucas for once.
No, I know.
Hey, I will
60.
say,
I never beat Lucas.
well, I was
60.
thinking about this a few weeks ago on Call Your Shot on a Friday that we did. You your shot was Bengals finish as the AFC's 1 seed.
I did.
Now, that didn't happen,
Right.
but they did finish on top of the AFC. So that went through my mind today. Blaine, you kind of called that.
Yeah, that was close.
Well, they finished in the way the 1 seed needs to.
I thought I
Last
said the
one
Titans
team
was
playing
going to
in
win
the
a
AFC.
close one by a field goal
I
over
thought
the
they were
Bengals.
going to win. They should have won.
So it was the opposite.
I thought they were going to win. I did. I thought the Titans were going to win that.
Why did my trap on my neck just twitch when you thought the Titans were going to win?
99 problems.
Oh, man.
Twitch is one.
Yeah, that is. It's pissed off up there. Like, that should not have happened. It should not have happened.
Hampton says Brady is only the goat of goats in America. Soccer stars are still bigger, y'all. Okay, well, I mean, I give you that.
All
And
right, yeah, we love
Argentina,
input,
somebody would
yeah.
be bigger than Tom Brady.
Maradona.
Yeah, and Maradona. He's at the big soccer field in the sky right now.
Ooh.
Yes, Maradona passed away in this past year.
Wasn't he so short you could see his feet in his driver's license picture?
I like that expression. But yes, he was very
That
short
sound like
in
he was
stature.
short.
big
That
where it
sound like
counts, though.
He
He had
was
big skills.
Like, yeah, real short. That's
All
what-
the Argentinian stars, Maradona, Messi, very short.
Yeah, Messi's
But great.
not the biggest dude. Both of those
Didn't
guys.
somebody get arrested today from the soccer?
Not that
Yeah,
I've seen.
Lucas, you
Not
have
that I've
soccer
seen.
news?
Yeah.
Somebody got arrested from soccer?
Yeah, somebody did.
Come on, man.
Go look that up.
I'll
for,
Google soccer
I think
and
a
arrest.
little assault there. Just check that out during
Just a
the break.
little?
Yeah, just I don't know what the extent of it. I was just scrolling through Twitter and I just kept scrolling. I don't want to read any of the negativity. But one thing is really funny by Alex Manns. I'm really starting to believe or think that the NFL is rigged.
Oh, let's hold on to that question
Yes.
for later because I thought that about the NBA for a long, long time.
The NBA, why?
Like
'Cause of
black
the,
helicopters
well, the
and
Lakers
vans.
Celtics was always right.
No, I'm thinking after that when the Kings always got beat by the Lakers. But I think
They just outright cheated the referee. The
Oh,
Kings.
100%.
Talking about Sacramento Kings
Yes.
when they had Weber and those
Yes.
guys. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, they
Okay,
were-
we're
they
all
were-
on the same page here. Sports are rigged. All right, Lucas, I know you're feeling the phone call. We got to get out of here because Mark Long, the AP reporter who is all over this mess in Jacksonville, is going to join us next to tell us all about the mess in Jacksonville.
I'm going to get some of these nuts.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Set to be joined any minute now by Mark Long of the Associated Press. He's been all over this Jaguars stuff. If you guys remember, it was, a little over a week ago when it looked as though Byron Leftwich was a sure thing to be the head coach of the Jaguars. It had been reported by some outlets that it was about to happen, and it did not happen. So it has yet to happen. They still don't have a head coach. We got a couple of calls. You want to squeeze in a couple of these right quick?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's do this, and we'll keep talking some of this Tom Brady, but we posed the question, is he the GOAT of GOATs? And people have called in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline to weigh in. KC in the Borough up first today. Hello, KC.
How are y'all gentlemen doing?
We're doing awesome.
Yeah.
My pick is Bill Russell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one. What he had, like 11?
11, and he also won as a player's coach.
Yeah, but he went 11 as a player and 2 more as a player coach. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yes,
and the
sir.
first black head coach in the NBA.
Yeah, Bill, KC, that's a fantastic
That's a great one because I
choice.
forgot
Bill-
about that. He
Bill
always
Russell.
gets lost in the shuffle.
He's the greatest winner of all time, Bill Russell. I mean, nobody won more than Bill Russell. KC, that's fantastic. Maybe that was KC Jones, his teammate. Zeke was a Celtic, too.
Yeah. Is he still?
He may be at the big basketball arena in the sky, too. Maybe he called
I don't
from
know.
heaven.
I remember him. That's because I was a Philadelphia 76. I was Dr. J guy.
Oh,
You know.
Andrew Toney and
Mm-hmm. Maurice Cheeks.
Mo Cheeks, Bobby Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Caldwell Jones.
Uh-huh.
Remember that guy?
And Dawkins.
Moses Malone later on,
Moses
Daryl
Malone.
Dawkins.
When they
Chocolate
added Moses
Thunder.
Malone, I was like, they can take the Celtics down. Nope. They
Remember-
did one time.
Well, they did it one time because remember he had the greatest playoff prediction of all time. Do you remember this?
No.
Somebody asked him, "What's your prediction for the playoffs?" And I guess they had, I think it was they had to win 3 series to win it, and he said, "Foe." I mean, like win 4, win 4, win 4. It's over. Foe. I'll have to find that, but his
Wow.
foe. Like we about to not lose a game.
Moses Malone.
That was a super team of Sixers.
Yeah. So, I mean, where do you put Russell on there? Why isn't he number 1?
Because he played so long ago. Because he played 50 plus years ago.
11 championships.
Yeah. And as KC said, and if my mind serves me right, 11 as a player, then 2 more as a player coach, 13 total, if I'm not mistaken.
What? Oh, are you sure it wasn't 9 then?
9 and 2. Oh, maybe that's right.
But why isn't he the GOAT then? Of all GOATs. Nobody gives him kind of the respect he deserves. It's almost like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all-time leading scorer. They act like he was, man, nobody could stop the sky hook.
Yeah, if you ask most people who is like it's 11 times. You're right. 11. 9 and 2, 11. So Mark Long is on the line with us. We'll get back to this discussion later.
Let's ask Mark.
Mark with the Associated Press. Hey, with the retirement of Tom Brady, Mark, obviously you're a well-read sports scholar working for the Associated Press. Who is the GOAT of GOATs? And we could say American sports because I know in other countries it might be a soccer player. In America, who's the GOAT of GOATs?
Ooh, right now?
Of all time
Of
in
all
American
time.
sports.
All time.
Yeah.
All time. Oh, I'm Michael Jordan. Come on.
He just said it when Michael Jordan. Watch this. Bill Russell has 11 championships in total.
I don't care. Give me Michael Jordan.
Hey,
Give me Michael Jordan all day. You
Isn't
have
that-
Bill Russell. I'm taking Michael Jordan. You build your team. I'll build mine. I'll win your 11 championships back in the day.
No, this was the caller. When naturally I said Tom Brady, but it's like, how do you look at Tom Brady when he's in the best league of all time, and then he was the best in that league?
Yeah. No. Listen. I thought you were saying without Tom Brady.
Oh, no, you had him in the discussion.
Oh no, I'm taking Tom Brady. I mean, he's
Gotcha.
the absolute GOAT. It's not. You can't even look at like different eras and what. I mean, there's so much parity in that league, and he does it with different teams, different offensive coordinators, different receivers, different people around him, different supporting cast, different opponents. He's done it in different decades. You know, I mean, the guy's amazing. He's hands down. I don't think we'll ever. I mean, you know, again, famous last words, but I don't think we'll ever see another one like Tom Brady in terms of the NFL. I mean, the guy is just a phenomenal quarterback. The age, all of it is just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Long, our guest, Associated Press writer covering the Jags. What's it been like to keep a hot board for this coaching search?
It's a hot board or is it a cold board? I couldn't even tell you the temperature of the board. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is the craziest, weirdest, strangest, oddest search I've ever been a part of. It has been a meandering, wild ride that, now all of a sudden 50 days in is back where it started with Doug Peterson. They're interviewing him right now, and that's where that was their first interview on December 30th. So before the season even ended. So it's like really weird that, and here you go, the guy's 32 days between interviews, his first and his second. That tells you right there that they don't know what they're doing. They narrowed it down to 3 finalists, Matt Eberflus and Byron Leftwich and Nathaniel Hackett, and none of them ended up in Jacksonville. And, you get it if all 3 of them took other jobs, but, Byron Leftwich is still sitting there. So clearly something happened. It sure looks like, all the writing on the wall that owner Shad Khan is keeping Trent Baalke and siding with Trent Baalke over the power struggle that they had with Byron Leftwich in terms of Byron wanting his own guy. And, here they are, sitting here starting over, and adding some names into the mix. Vic Fangio last week, Rich Bisaccio this week, and it looks like, maybe those are going to be coordinator interviews. But then, so then it begs the question, who's interviewing coordinators when you don't have a head coach? That makes no sense at all. And so why would the GM and the owner be interviewing guys they see as potential coordinators when you haven't hired the head coach? So the whole thing is chaotic at best, clueless and dysfunctional at worst.
Ooh, man. Mark Long, AP Mark Long, at AP Mark Long. That's where you can find him on Twitter covering all this stuff with the Jags.
Well, Mark, we gave you a call because, we're miserable here as Titans fans because we lost, but I don't think the Titans fans understand that it can get way worse. So kind of explain to us this poop show and where Trent Baalke fits into all this, who is general manager, and nobody wants to coach for.
Yeah, he is the unbelievable wild card. This was a perfect opportunity for them to start over. Urban Meyer was a debacle. Trent Baalke was a debacle. It was you put those two together, you thought, okay, I'm going to give this thing a chance. You took a big gamble and it backfired. You got egg all over your face. Flush it and start over. Whatever the cost, flush it, move on. Instead, Shad Khan fired Urban Meyer, kept Trent Baalke, let him lead the search, and I guess we're going to find out that he did that because he just didn't want to go through a GM search. That's what it sounds like. He just didn't want to go down that path. And, he could have done that, hired a GM, let the GM basically go find the head coach and get it done that way. I mean, they're coming closing on 50 days since they fired Urban Meyer. They've had 50 days to figure this thing out, and now I think they're on coaching interview number 12. Throw in Fangio and Rick Spielman, some Bisaccio. I mean, it's just some weird diversions along the way, and we have no idea. The only thing that seems certain is Trent Baalke will be in the building, in some capacity. I would assume as the GM. Now, whether he has a new boss, an executive vice president in charge of him, that remains to be seen. Maybe that's going to be Spielman. Maybe Spielman works for him and it's kind of the maybe a fallback plan. I don't know, but it is weird beyond belief, and it makes every other franchise look functional. Just basic functionality. Everybody else, the Bears, the Vikings, the Giants, all these teams that have been up and down on the field, they get it right. When it comes time to interview, they identify their pieces, their people. They go interview them. They narrow it down. They interview them again, and then they pick one. It seems so simple, but the Jags can't even get that right. And it just goes to that's what this franchise has been for the better part of 20 years. They had a blimp in 2017 where they got it right, a little blip. And other than that, it's been chaos and dysfunction at every turn.
Man, we're on with Mark Long, with AP writer, talking all Jags. I guess for me, Shad Khan seems like, okay, he'll spend the money. He just made some bad decisions on the hires, whether it's the GM or the coach. So is he more hands-on or is he a hands-off owner? And is that part of the issue? Like, how often does he stay in Jacksonville? I'm not sure.
No, he lives in. So he has two homes, as most billionaires do, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a $250 million yacht that he's on some of the time, but he has a home in Naples, Florida, and he has a home in Champaign, Illinois. So that's his place. So he's an absentee owner. He does not live in Jacksonville. He doesn't come to Jacksonville every week. So that's first and foremost, probably, I would say his number one issue is he's not there. And he doesn't have anybody on the football side there. Now, he's got some business people in the building every day who are trustworthy and have been there a long time and keep him in the loop. But on the football side, it can get pretty messy over there on the football side. And when you hire a general manager, you hire a head coach, and you don't have those two, tied at the hip, handcuffed, married, whatever you want to call it, you go, we go, do or die, in it together, whatever you want to attach. That's not been the case in Jacksonville. And all of a sudden, what happens when things start going bad? And my God, they've gone bad in Jacksonville for a long time. Things start going bad. People start pointing fingers. The coach is trying to save himself. He starts pointing at the personnel department. The personnel department is trying to save himself. The GM's trying to save himself. He starts pointing at the coaching. And so all of a sudden, you end up with backbiting and finger pointing and backstabbing and rumors and leaks and all this stuff, and it's just complete train wreck. And that's what they had. They had it here with Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone, and then they had it again last year with Trent Baalke and Urban Meyer. So, and you have assistant coaches, you got players getting involved last year, players leaking to their agents, all that stuff, and it is a mess. And if that didn't get you to completely flush it and start over, then nothing's gonna. And that was why I said he had the perfect opportunity after not even close, the worst year in franchise history and maybe one of the most dysfunctional years for any franchise. That should have been a complete sign that, you got the wrong people at the top. Flush it, start over, get this thing right. Pair the two people, pair that head coach and that GM together. Pair them and say, hey, you go, you both go. And say to the other one, you go, you're both going. That's it. You guys are tied at the hip forever, for better, for worse, till you fired, do you part, and make it work like that. Instead, you've got all this drama. You're keeping a guy that fans have revolted against, clown show, all that. Boy, I mean, you're just setting yourself up for more failure.
Well, I want to ask something, and I don't know the background of Shad Khan, but does he have, I guess, brothers or sisters or children that could be in the building since he's not there, to at least be his eyes and ears, to at least know what really is closer to the truth of what's going on?
Yeah, like Tony.
So, interesting story. He does have two children, a boy and a girl, and the ownership is set up this way. Shad Khan has 34% owner. His son, Tony, is 33, and his daughter is 33. The daughter is not part of the franchise. The son was. He's still relatively young, in his 30s, and he was in the building every day. When Shad Khan first bought the team in 2011, 2012 season was his first one in the NFL. His son was in the building every day. He created an analytics department. He's a rocket science type guy, very smart. So he was. And then what happened was he ran into some resistance from the personnel department, resistance from the coaching staff, in terms of, what he was trying to get done. So, the son went and did some of his own things. He started a baseball analytics company. He became the general manager of Fulham Soccer Club in London. And now he created from scratch AEW, All Elite Wrestling, which is now challenging the WWE. So the son has gone and made himself, made his own path, but now he's not in the building. So there's no one really in the building giving Shad Khan honest daily, weekly, monthly feedback in terms of what's going on. When stuff starts going bad, like last year, and Urban Meyer and finger pointing and players revolting, all those things, and fans dysfunction. You wonder what messages that is getting back to Shad Khan from the building on a daily basis. So I would think, and again, we don't know if they're going there this way, I would think he needs an EVP, an executive vice president in charge of everything, and then the coach and the general manager report to that person, and that person is totally loyal to Shad Khan. And making sure he's in the loop and making sure these two guys aren't doing their own thing and that they're tied at the hip, for better for worse.
We're on with AP writer Mark Long on all things Jaguars.
All right, Mark. So on the way out, is anybody in Trevor Lawrence's ear? Who does he want?
That's a good question. Now, I will say this. Trevor Lawrence is one of the few people who does have a connection to Shad Khan in terms of they text, they talk. He was on the yacht, in December, telling him what he thought about Urban Meyer, telling him what he thought about the direction of the franchise. So he does. They realize, Shad Khan realizes, he may not be a football guy, but he realizes this is their franchise quarterback, and he's shown, glimpses of enough talent to think, okay, this is the guy. We need to do everything in our power to get the right pieces around him and make him better. Get the right head coach, get the right offensive coordinator, get the right quarterback coach, add some pieces on offense, and try to get Trevor Lawrence to be your Tom Brady. And then all of a sudden you're going to have a chance. And Shad Khan understands that. And so I would think Trevor Lawrence, he might not be signing off on who they're interviewing. He's certainly not in the room when they're interviewing candidates, but I can guarantee you he's probably going to at least have a chance to give his input on any hire.
Mark, fantastic stuff.
Especially those guys on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. Hey, fantastic stuff. People need to be following you at AP Mark Long or anywhere they consume the Associated Press.
Well, real quick.
Appreciate you.
Who do the fans want, Mark? Who do the fans want them to hire as the coach?
They wanted Byron Leftwich, and they wanted Byron Leftwich with Adrian Wilson, two 42-year-old former players, both of them a decade or more in the league, and two guys, and they wanted to go. They were ready to go young, pair young, smart minds with Trevor Lawrence and see how it works that way.
And then you can make Tony Baselli the EVP. There you go. Now you have it. Just tell them to call me. My phone's open. My line's open. You can give me a call.
Thank you, Mark.
You guys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Great stuff. Always good. Hey, he's a good follow on Twitter at AP Mark Long.
Hilarious.
All right, when we come back, we can go back to the phones. We've been weighing in on this topic. Is Tom Brady the GOAT of GOATs? And AP Mark Long went with Michael Jordan. Got some Jordan talk in the Zone TV chat as well. You can weigh in 615-737-1045. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone, rolling with you on a Tuesday. Asking the question today in honor of Tom Brady, who retired after 22 years. Is Tom Brady the GOAT of GOATs? There's a great list on ESPN right now. Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Babe Ruth, Tom Brady, Serena Williams.
They're actually not asking the GOAT of GOATs.
They're asking greatest
athletes.
This is top 5 greatest athletes of all time. And Max Kellerman has Jordan at 1, Muhammad Ali at 2, Babe Ruth at 3, Tom Brady at 4, Serena Williams at 5. What Babe Ruth did, and that was so long ago, 100 years ago, when entire teams weren't hitting as many home runs, half as many home runs as he was hitting on his own. Mm-hmm. He was uniquely talented for his time. But again, that's about 100 years ago. But I think Jason in Nashville wants to weigh in on this on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Jason, what you got, man? What's going on?
Hey, man, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling.
I mean, look, when it comes to rings, it's going to be kind of hard to argue that Brady is the best to do it just because of the simple fact he has rings. But in my mind, this is just my opinion, the best quarterback in play of a season and directing his team was Montana. And I believe that even Brady would say that himself, which he has. But I think that the longevity of players being able to play longer plays a factor into more rings of what Brady has been able to achieve. Because I believe in the Montana era, it was a lot harder to be a quarterback. You didn't have the Brady rule where people hit you, or you didn't have all these player safety things. Back then, you earned everything. And that's not Brady's fault. You play with what's going on. Just like in the NBA, I don't think it's as, physical as it was when Jordan played. So, but that's just my opinion. When you ask who the GOAT is, to be able to have 4 consecutive Super Bowls the way Montana did in the style of play that they were playing in, that sets it aside. But I'm also recognizing the rings and the accomplishments that Brady has. I'm not trying to take that away. I just don't know that you can say that he's better than Montana because I don't think it's as rough as a sport as it was back in those days.
One more question for you. Is it a different answers, I guess, for you in that the top 5 best athletes of all time? Is that a different answer for you?
Here's a good question to ask a question with a question. What do you base an athlete off of? Is it always a Super Bowl? Because there's been great athletes that never just could get the ring.
Yep.
I mean, Jim Kelly went 4 times to the Super Bowl and never won a ring, but he's still acknowledged because how many people goes to the Super Bowl, period?
Yes.
And you went there 4 times.
And Bo Jackson might be the greatest athlete of all time. He never played in any Super Bowls.
Right.
And I even say that about Dan Marino. I mean, that dude was a pure quarterback, but just never could get the ring. So what makes you a GOAT? Is it always just the rings? Because Iverson, use Iverson. He gave his all on the court with no help. Never had help. He spent a lot of his years in Philly with no help and would play with a broken arm and broken ankle. And, he don't have the rings that Jordan has, but did that not make him a GOAT in its own?
Hey, Jason, thank you, man. That's a bunch of fantastic points. And Blaine and I were talking about this earlier. I've said this before. I hadn't said it today, but my theory on this has always been you almost have to be the GOAT of your era because for the longest time, as Tom Brady was kind of stacking up his Super Bowl wins, my thing was Bart Starr won 5 NFL championships. He won 2 Super Bowls, but he won 3 NFL championships before that. Then if you really want to go note for note, GOAT for GOAT, Otto Graham played in a different league, one of the ones that merged with the NFL, the All-American Football Conference. It existed 4 years. They won it 4 years, the Browns with him at quarterback. Then he played 6 years in the NFL and played for a championship all 6 years. Oh, wow. He played 10 years in the NFL. He played for 10 championships, or he played 10 years of professional football in a league that merged with the NFL. And then the NFL, he played 10 straight championship games and won 7 of them. He only played 10 years.
So where do you put him on the list?
See, that's Otto Graham is always my argument, and I'm not saying Tom Brady's not just the greatest of greatest, but Otto Graham won 7 in 10 years and never didn't play for a championship. But people don't know that because his career started in like 1948,
Watch this. I'm about to get you. do you have to have the championships to say that you were great of all time?
Well, Dan Marino might be the greatest argument against that. Because there's a bunch of people say, oh, no, Dan Marino's the best ever. He played in one, never won. He played in one in year 2, like Joey Burrow's about to do. And he never even played for another Super Bowl. But you played against him.
It's funny you do that. I'm sitting there looking at you like, ooh, I don't know, man.
But you played against Montana. You played against Brady.
And I played against Elway, Peyton.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
you
all the
overlapped.
greats.
You overlapped,
I got the
which
tail
is
end of the
fantastic.
old school
And the
I got
beginning of the new school.
Yeah. I don't think I ever got Tom Brady. I played against Drew Bledsoe, but Brady was there. Mm-hmm. Man, that's a tough one there, man. Dan Marino's release was the quickest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
That's what
I'm not even
everybody
gonna lie.
says.
I was like, what the heck is this? And oh, by the way, he was as loud at yelling at his players. I almost felt like I could hear their play calls in the huddle. When he starts talking to everybody, and then he's yelling out checks and changes. I mean, you could hear him clear as day out there. It was like, dang, this guy's different. Now, imagine now, I'm a rookie and I'm out there hearing all this. I'm like, good Lord, who is this dude? Knowing I knew who Dan Marino was.
Because you've been watching him on TV your whole life.
But I'm going, oh, this is totally different now when you're in the mix. This is, he had a rocket launcher. I would say his release was the quickest. Elway might have had the strongest arm because that's when the DB coach told me I could run to the other side when he rolls out. He won't throw to the backside. And he did. And then they were like, where were you? I said, the coach told me. He up there waving his arms like, nah. They said, yeah, you did. I'm throwing you under the bus. You told me to do that. I did it at practice because you told me to do it. So there's a lot of, Montana I caught at the end. Steve Young, I don't know where he's on the list, but I caught him right there towards the end. So, man, there's a lot of great quarterbacks. I think the guys are so much bigger and stronger. That's why it makes Brady just so special in that his longevity and then to go out with the numbers that he went out with. Not even just a ring, but the way he was playing.
Yeah.
It's remarkable at 44. So, it's hard to go against him. I'm sure he was going to say Joe Montana because that was his idol growing up being a California kid.
Right.
But, man, I think listen to Teddy Bruschi the other day on ESPN talking about him when it was all the controversy if he was retiring or not. It was like that was a buildup. I didn't think the way he phrased everything made it seem like they were a defensive-oriented team the first couple times, and it was starting to go towards Brady, but they had no idea that he would be this special after they left. Mm-hmm. Then he continued it on, and it was really on his back after that. Going into ring number 3, then on
4, 5,
6, 7.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, dang. So they thought he was good, but then to be special, he kind of continued to evolve his game and get better as time went on, which is pretty remarkable, especially at Father Time didn't get him.
Father Time has gotten us for this first hour of the show, but we got the second hour of the show coming back, including a visit from Coach Mack. We'll ask him what he thinks about Tom Brady and the playoff games and everything else that's going on right now. We'll also squeeze in some phone calls in the first segment of the next hour. So if you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to you.
It is 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The GOAT is hanging it up after 22 years and 7 Super Bowls. Tom Brady made it official on Instagram earlier today with a long statement included in that, quote, "This is difficult for me to write, but here it goes. I am not going to make that competitive commitment anymore. I have loved my NFL career, and now it is time to focus my time and energy on other things that require my attention." Report from Wes Goldberg a couple of hours ago saying Brady is planning to sign a one-day contract with the New England Patriots and retire with the franchise, with which he played for 20 years and won 6 Super Bowls. Titans are sending 2 more players to the Pro Bowl as defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons and left guard Roger Saffold were named as alternates. Simmons replacing Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones. Saffold replacing Colts guard Quentin Nelson. Both of those players are out due to injury. Those 2 will join outside linebacker Harold Landry and all-pro safety Kevin Byard. All 4 Titans players will, of course, be representing the AFC in the Pro Bowl, which will be coached by Mike Vrabel and the rest of the Titans coaching staff. Coming up tonight, the Preds are back in Bridgestone after a 3-game road trip hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Nashville expected to get Ellie Tolvanen and Dante Fabro back in the lineup. The Preds are second in the Central, Vancouver second to last in the Pacific. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. College hoops tonight, number 22 Tennessee is back in Knoxville after losing at Texas over the weekend. The Vols at 14-6 back into conference play hosting Texas A&M for a 6 p.m. tip. Catch the Vol Network coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up? Good Lord. Here's the deal. Weather's going to stink the rest of the week. Go outside today and, throw a Frisbee with your dog or something. It's going to not be good. So here's my weather advice. Go do something today. This is amazing.
Oh,
it's like I felt like I was walked out
supposed to rain,
the wrong house
right?
today. Yeah.
The rain later in the week.
Maybe some sneaky icy stuff.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's out there. There's a possibility. Arkansas is supposed to just get crushed. So I was supposed to go see some friends this weekend, and they're like, "Hey, man, I wouldn't make any plans about coming over here." It got so bad that the weatherman there, who's oddly enough from here, a guy named Ryan Vaughn, he is from Nashville. He's the weatherman in Jonesboro, Arkansas. He was trying to explain sleet and freezing rain so much, and people kept asking him so many questions on Twitter. So he tweeted out a picture of 2 donuts.
I saw this.
I retweeted
that was him?
A glazed donut is freezing rain.
Yeah.
Where it comes down and then it turns into ice. It comes down as rain, so like glaze, and then it hardens on
I wanted to bite that donut, though.
Oh, no, that was a great graphic.
Oh,
and
I
then
love that
sprinkles, that's sleet. Have you not ever seen weather better explained than that?
That was well done.
Everybody got it.
And it made me want donuts.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he donuts
Can you order some while we wait?
Should we
here?
order some donuts?
Yeah, we should. Just glazed, though.
Can we just order donuts and
I
get
don't
them
know.
Grubhubbed or however they get to your door?
Mm-hmm.
At least it wouldn't be cold. I mean, they would just be
DoorDash.
what they were when they left and when they got here.
Pay like $30 for
we do
about
have a
30
donuts.
bucks for
We do have a
dozen
microwave.
donuts.
We can warm them up.
I'm not a microwave donuts guy.
Oh, if it's
I
been
don't-
sitting too long, I'm still putting it down.
I just eat it like it sits.
Yeah,
And
well,
like cheese dip, Poncho's cheese dip, if you're not from like West Tennessee or Arkansas, it's hard to explain it to people. There was a restaurant chain called Poncho's.
I know
and
what you're talking about.
And they made cheese dip, and it was like the old school yellow cheese dip. I just eat it straight out of the refrigerator. The connoisseurs of Poncho's cheese dip only eat it straight out of the fridge. You never warm that stuff up. Do you guys heat up cheese dip? Even if my mom made it, I would just eat it straight out of the refrigerator.
Yes.
I do. I warm it up. Yeah, I'm looking at you. So we're about to come up with a segment called H-Town Mickey and What He Eats.
Let me ask
you don't warm up donuts, you don't warm up cheese.
And yes, we know Tom Brady retired. We'll get to that. But this is some real stuff here. Let me ask you guys this.
Food.
Let me ask you guys this. You pull up at, say, your grandmother's house,
Okay.
your Aunt Billy
doesn't
Sue,
matter.
whatever
Whoever.
it is,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, hey, and it's 7:15. Hey, I made dinner early, 5 o'clock, but it's all in the kitchen. Let me ask you, do you just eat it like it sits, wherever it sits, or do you warm yourself up a plate?
I warm it up.
I definitely warm it up.
I eat it just like it sits. If it's still out, I'm going to eat it just like it sits.
I mean,
if it's in the refrigerator, I'll eat it just like it sits.
Why?
Because I don't want to mess with the chemical composition by reheating it.
Oh, that's your reasoning.
Yeah, I don't want to change it.
You don't want to change it, even if it's cold.
I mean,
It's
for
fine.
some things, I get like cold pizza. Like everybody eats cold pizza.
Right, that's what I was thinking about college. I'm like, okay, I could just go grab that.
Okay,
and
I'd
eat
probably heat up the pizza.
that. Oh my! Stop this.
I probably would.
That is the
Now,
one thing that would ruin the composition of the pizza because
But
then it gets all floppy.
if I come home and
Right.
but if
Exactly.
here's the thing though, if you stick it in the refrigerator, if you read the box, it's like reheating instructions.
Yeah.
If you reheat it, you can bring the pizza back to life. Like it's alive.
Yeah, in a
You can
certain
bring it back
way,
to
like
life.
in the
But I'm
oven.
not doing that with like mashed potatoes and green beans and a piece of meatloaf. I'm
Oh,
just gonna
man.
eat it however it sits.
Got to reheat mashed potatoes.
No
you
way.
have to. Macaroni
No.
and cheese, all
Any
that.
potato
Matter of
heated,
fact,
you kill it,
if
reheated.
I'm putting my pizza, if I don't put it in the microwave, if I really want to feel like, oh, I got it freshly, in the box, I'll cook it on the stove in a pan.
Oh, see, I would do that with pizza, but
Yeah,
nothing
that's what I'm
else.
talking about, pizza.
Not this other
If
stuff.
you want to
guys
make
are
it feel like, oh, this is just like I just got it. Yeah.
The only
done
way that I would heat it up is if it was like a roast where it had like the congealed fat around it and you have to melt the fat back into gravy.
Oh, my.
I would do that just for the mental aspect of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's it.
I get that.
Only to
Right, I get
melt
that.
Don't wanna
congealed
be eating
fat.
fat
That's
Jell-O.
it. Yeah, that's it. Only to melt congealed fat.
All right. So what do you want to put out there? We have to put this out there. Whatever food that you eat cold that you just went through, we're going to put that and ask people just to call in and tell us if they heat it up or they just eat it as is.
I don't even know. There's so many.
Maybe
No,
just
just
ask
pick what you
people
just-
the best food to eat cold.
Best food to eat cold.
No, but Mickey eats them all.
Except
so
pizza.
I would.
It's so twisted. It should be
Right, it's
completely
the other way around.
I will eat it cold, but it's just fine with me to reheat it. It's just okay. Something about that is fine. It will reignite the molecules of the pizza.
Reignite the
Almost
molecule.
identical to what they
He's already
arrived at.
convinced himself that
But like meatloaf, once it's done, it's done.
All right.
Literally, the
Oh.
meatloaf is done.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
all
We're
right,
gonna
Pete.
use
Sorry,
meat.
too
We're
soon.
gonna use meatloaf. If call in if you reheat your meatloaf in the microwave, or you just eat it cold when you come in and it's just already ready and done and ready to go down, chow down on it and everything else.
We're literally distilling this down to meatloaf.
Yeah, well,
Meatloaf.
that's
We
yeah.
want it.
Yeah,
now.
meatloaf, whatever you want. Meatloaf,
right.
chicken. It doesn't matter. Well, I can eat some cold chicken.
All right, maybe we need to ask the GOAT of cold foods to eat. Maybe that would be it, because we do have the question out. And by the way, Tom Brady retired, and we had this question out.
No, that's secondary. To
Who is the GOAT of all goats? And Randall from Franklin has been hanging on the line on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, so we will pivot from meatloaf to this sports topic. Hello, Randall, and thank you for your patience.
Hey guys, how are you? I do want
Great.
to touch on the meatloaf. I do. heat it.
Reheated, right?
And as a matter of fact, Mickey, I would not want to eat with you.
Right? I'm like, what is he doing?
Everything.
I do too.
I'll even eat it cold, Randall. I'm a good eating partner. I don't have any demands.
Come on. You've taken science. You've brought science in it. There's not necessary to do that. You just put it in a microwave and heat it.
Randy, you're starting
Let's
to sound
get
like my
on
mom
with
now.
Let's get back to the topic I called.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm closer to Coach Mack's age, so I want to bring up a guy. I've only been listening for about 40 minutes, but there's only one human being on this earth that has won more rings than he has fingers to wear them on.
That's
You
the
know
great,
who that is?
the great Bill Russell.
Why is his name not being brought up?
That's what I said the last hour.
Yeah,
He
he did.
not only won him as a player, he won him as
a
player
coach.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
That's the greatest athlete that's ever walked the planet Earth.
Well, there you go. Randall I'm going to let Randall drop his own mic there about Bill Russell. Now there's a bunch of people who've called about cold food. You want to grab a couple of these?
Yes, of course.
All right, Johnny in the
we
Burrow.
got to ask Coach Mack when he comes on.
We'll ask Coach Mack. Johnny in the Burrow, what have you got?
So the best cold food is fried chicken. And Mickey, you need to take and the next time you have a hamburger, like a meatloaf, cut it up and fry it like a hamburger.
Oh, so you're saying like reconstitute it, reposition it as another food.
Basically, yeah, like a fried meatloaf sandwich. It's the best thing in the world.
Okay. All right.
There
John.
you
All
go.
right. Fried meatloaf
Mhm.
sandwich. Let's get Nate in the Burrow. Nate, what's going on? What say you about cold food?
Hands down, it's got to be cold pizza. I mean, it's good
Yes.
hot, but I'll just throw it right. I'll just pull right
I'm
out
with
the
you.
box from Domino's and eat it up. But you can't eat anything else cold. Meatloaf. It's like might as well open a can of dog food cafe. I can't
Oh, man, I
Nate.
just bought my dog some canned food because I had his teeth pulled, and I was like, there's no way I would eat this crap.
All right, Nate, let me ask you this. This is a true cold pizza test. I'm going to see if you can pass it. You order pizza
I'm ready.
You order pizza the night before. Do you leave it on the coffee table and just eat it how it sits the next morning? I called your roommate who did that.
Well, I
No,
did that
man.
in college.
Okay.
No, man, that's got dairy on it and stuff like that. That stuff can mutate, man. You should. You got to throw it in the refrigerator next morning. Eat you a piece. Better that way. I ain't gonna eat some room temperature pizza that's sitting out all night.
All right, Nate. All right. Well, my college roommate would do that.
Well, I definitely say I've done that in college, but as an adult on my own,
That's a hard
that
no.
has never done that. I am warming that thing up.
Okay. Of all things.
Because in college you're kind of desperate, like, I don't have time, so my roommates may eat this.
Yeah, I'm going to eat it before I
I
go.
bought this pizza.
We got Ed O next. Maybe it's Ed O'Bannon from Lebanon. What's going on, Ed?
Ogeron?
Oh, Ed O. What you say, Ed? He just freaked out.
Hey, Ogeron, what'd you think about Joe Burrow's performance?
He canceled
That
himself.
was Ed O.
myself.
That was Ed O.
All right, we got time. Let's grab like one or two more. Brad in Springfield, what's your take on cold food?
Cold food, meatloaf, you take it out of the refrigerator, you put some mayonnaise on a slice of bread, you put another piece of bread on it, and you have your meatloaf cold sandwich.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
That sounds good, except put it in the microwave. It would be awesome.
No.
The cheese would melt onto the meatloaf and the bread. Oh, that sounds like that'd be pretty good heated up.
Dallas says in his own Twitter chat, all reheated foods taste horrible besides pizza. Thank you for dropping the
You just had to say
mic.
that.
We'll be back with Coach Mack.
No way.
Yes, Way. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. I had somebody tweet me this week and say, what's that song you guys always play before Coach Mack comes on? I said, it's Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. It's one of the greatest songs ever written for our coach, Coach Mack, who joins us now. Yeah. Coach, you ever get tired of hearing this as your intro music?
Boom. Hey, guys, I mean, I didn't pick it, but I like it a lot. So I appreciate everybody playing it.
So, well, we have to ask then about the food. I know
Coach,
you are.
We're solving the world's problems today on the show, as always. And we got into this discussion. And I said, for my whole life, like if I came in from ball practice and my mom was like, hey, I made dinner like 2 hours ago, I'd be like, okay, I'll just eat it like it sits. Meatloaf, anything. I never heated anything up. I just ate it the way it sat.
But it could have been in the refrigerator.
Even if it was in the refrigerator, Coach, I just put it on my plate and ate it. Are you okay with that, or do you think I'm a sociopath? Because we seem to be kind of split here.
Need to heat it up in the microwave.
Yes.
Well, Mickey, I have great respect for you. I really hate to say this, but you're lazy as hell.
Is that what that is?
I'm fine with it cold, though. I like it that way. It's not a laziness thing. My mom would say, let me heat this, and I would say, no, it's fine. I like it the way it is.
Oh, wow.
Well, you convinced yourself on that. So, I mean, look, you're still alive, so it worked very well for you.
Yeah, it's done really well for you.
We did have somebody on Twitter said, never microwave meat. I may put that on a T-shirt. Give him credit.
Oh, we got to get one like
All
that.
right, Coach Mack joins us, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage and affordable price. Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They've got you covered. Coach Mack, Tom Brady had a whole lot of stuff covered for the last 22 years. Just your thoughts as he officially makes it official today and leaves after such an unbelievable career.
Pretty amazing, really. I mean, 22 years as a professional athlete, first of all, regardless of the sport you're in, is an unbelievable accomplishment. And then put on top of it all the championships that he won, and then leaving an organization he had been with for 20 years and multiple championships, and then going to another organization and being able to bring everybody together and win another world championship. I mean, look, you've got to – here's the first thing that I respect, having been in this business for, over 30-plus years, is the commitment that it takes in your life to do that. Because off-season work is – and that's the grind of it. The people don't really understand. It's not all about the games. It's about the grind when you're not playing the games. And to be able to be committed to that high a level of performance and excellence, and to just focus yourself on that. And with doing that, you are going to exclude a lot of other things in your life, or put them on the back burner, because that to me is the amazing accomplishment. Because, there are great athletes, throughout all professional sports. And the one thing that separates most of them, I would say, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with 8 Hall of Famers in my career, and the thing that separated them from really good players is the total commitment to their craft. And so for a total commitment to his craft, I mean, it's pretty unprecedented.
What was it like? Because you've told us, we've asked you about different players. How'd you coach against this guy, and how'd you coach against that guy? How did you coach against the teams that he played for, taking what he could do into account?
Well, I mean, it was definitely not only a physical challenge for your players, it was a mental challenge for the players and the coaches. And I coached in the league for 31 years, so I was on defensive staffs and a head coach against from Montana to Marino, to Kelly, to Favre, to this guy, to Peyton Manning. I mean, those guys put a different type of stress on you as a coach preparing your team. And then it put a stress on your players that were on defense, both mentally and physically, because they were not only gifted physically, but their mental approach to the game really, really sometimes put you in such conflict that it was a challenge every play. This guy was the same. I mean, Tom Brady was the same. I mean, Brady was the same as all of those guys I've just mentioned. You've got guys that probably had a more physical arm talent, and that is a challenge within itself. But just the mental chess game that you had to play as a defensive signal caller, against him, against Peyton Manning, against those guys that were for different reasons, were really a challenge. But this guy, as I said earlier, just for the amount of years that he did it in. I mean, it was a constant challenge. I mean, Blaine can speak to this. As a defensive player, when you've got a quarterback that can play those mind games and also physically be able to manipulate your defense and manipulate where his people are, that's a problem.
Coach Mack, never a problem when he joins us on Tuesdays. Always great stuff. He joins us now courtesy of Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Well, Coach Mack, I want to ask you about the AFC Championship game and what was your overall view watching the Bengals beat Kansas City in the AFC Championship game?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Blaine, because as you know, you guys know. I mean, I tell you how I watch games. I mean, I chart games when I watch them, and to me, it was really a tale of two halves. And what I really give Cincinnati a lot of credit for is starting, right, that those plays on the goal line right before the half.
Mm-hmm.
The last eight possessions that Kansas City had, there was that debacle before the half, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 4 punts, a field goal, and an interception. All right. And so what they did defensively, you could see it. They started doing it. I mean, down on the goal line before the half, they played what we call, red 2 with a spider drop, which means, they basically had a guy standing in the middle from the defensive front. And then when they got into the second half, Blaine, they played so much 3-man rush, 4-man look, 3-man rush with a spider spy in the middle,
right,
that Kansas City got so impatient. When you saw in that ball game in the second half, when you were watching it on television, you could see Mahomes holding it, moving around, trying to find somebody. They had 8 in coverage. They were patient enough defensively with the Bengals to play 8 in coverage, and Mahomes was not patient enough to try to beat it. And so that to me was, and Cincinnati did a great job, but offensively, really Kansas City was inept in that second half. They really were.
How do you look at it as a coach? Let's take yourself back when you were coaching, which wasn't very long ago. And when the team that beat you in the wild card round then continues on and makes it to the Super Bowl, how do you view that team? Are you happy that they beat you, or now looking back and say, well, at least that's the team that beat us and they went on and went to the Super Bowl? Or do you look at it and you're just still not going to be happy and you want them to lose? I know that's kind of a broad view, but I just wonder how coaches look at it. Because fans look at it, they don't want them to win. They don't care.
Yeah, no, I really don't. I don't get involved in it emotionally like that. Mm-hmm. What I do is look at it technically and see, and you could really see, that last interception, Blaine, that Mahomes threw was right at the same part of the field that Tannehill threw the last one, in our game.
Oh.
It was a deep third to the left. He threw it into coverage. And so to me, I give credit to football teams that are able to make things work for them. And you've got to give Cincinnati credit. They came into Nashville and beat a very good Titans team. They went to Kansas City and beat a very good Kansas City team. So, whatever accolades they are getting right now, no matter how structurally they did it, they did it. And so what they did is they stepped up in the moments that were presented to them. And so, I really don't get emotionally involved as far as saying, oh, I hope they lose, I hope they win, because that's not what I've ever done. I just really kind of look at to see schematically how it breaks down. And it's pretty interesting, as I just said, to watch those last 8 possessions for Kansas City. Everybody talks about, they're the new jet set offense. They were really inept in that second half.
Yeah. The quarterback, Mahomes, as I call him, looked really rattled there in the second half.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. He did, and he got impatient. And the Bengals basically won the patience battle is what they did. And they kind of lured him into that impulsive trap that he gets into every now and then. And it ended up costing Kansas City the game.
Well, let's move to the NFC game, which, the 49ers lost to the Rams. Kind of take us through. Right. And you know the Rams very well because a lot of those guys, you were on the staff and drafted them. Sure. I kind of take us through there and see them have some success with some of the players that were there was kind of interesting. And then how it ended there for Garoppolo and maybe how his career maybe is mirroring Tannehill's to a certain extent. Kind of take us through that kind of comparison too.
Well, I mean, first of all, when you look at the first thing breaking that game down, here's where the Rams really did a good job, Blaine. They played the run extremely well. They played the run. That run game for San Francisco is a very intricate run game, and they shocked and shed, and they played the run game extremely well. San Francisco could not get their run going at all, and I'm not even talking about Aaron Donald. I'm talking about everybody across there. Their fits, their lockouts, their sheds. You go back and just watch those runs, play by play by play. It's really nice to watch. You can tell that they really worked on those fits and those types of things, and the fundamentals of up front being able to lock out and shed. They completely defeated what was going on up there with San Francisco. The other thing, let's flip it to the other side. I think D'Amico Ryans calling defenses got a little bit jumpy, and when he did, that big third down, that Cooper Kupp caught was a huge third down that went for 20-plus yards. Look, Matthew Stafford is as good as there is against pressure, is as good as there is against the blitz, because he's got the arm, he's got the location, and you're defining where his throw is. And to me, they never did anything specific to take away Cooper Kupp. And then when they got jumpy and started bringing 5 and 6, Stafford wore them out. He wore them out. So I would say those two things jumped out at me, really big time. And then at the end, now when they're struggling, that last play was really a panic play by Garoppolo on that one. But the thing to watch is Aaron Donald in those last series with the chop club that he uses, and then just that last one where he just, it was a forklift move to get, to really put Garoppolo in a panic situation where he just flipped it up. And so those are the things that stood out to me. But the biggest thing was going into it, and where San Francisco had beaten the Rams in all those previous games, they were able to run the ball on them. They were not able to run it an inch.
No doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the business. Now on to the Super Bowl there, Mickey.
Coach, big honor this week for a couple guys, Roger Saffold and Big Jeff, added to the Pro Bowl roster. Here's the most surprising thing to me all week of everything in the world that's happened. Roger Saffold never made a Pro Bowl before now. I can't believe that.
And again, it's not, Blaine's sitting right there, and he can tell you a lot of times, and especially as it's evolved, the Pro Bowl has taken on some different distinctions. But the thing about offensive linemen in the Pro Bowl, I've experienced this through my 31 years of coaching, and still now, I'm still involved in it, looking at it. A lot of people don't understand and don't study offensive linemen enough. And once one guy starts getting in, he normally is going to stay in for a while, just because they'll say, oh, well, that guy is probably the best one because he's been in before. Roger Saffold has played, really good football, his entire career. And so I don't think the fact that he's never been in a Pro Bowl defines what he is as a player, because clearly for his career, the thing that defines a player is what other people in the league think about him, and what people that really know think about a player. And, so I'm glad Roger gets to go. I really am. Now, Big Jeff, come on, guys. That's a plus. The Titans are coaching it. It'll be a lot of fun for those guys. But I'm happy for all three of our guys that are there.
What? And I know this might be a something where I don't know how you would answer it or not, but I'm just curious. What are the similarities and the differences between Aaron Donald, who's the gold standard at that position, and a young guy like Big Jeff, who is trying to get there?
Well, Aaron Donald is an anomaly. First of all, when we drafted Aaron Donald, was 13th in the draft, people were, and if you go back and just read and the comments made during the draft, people thought he was too short. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing. Jeffrey Simmons, Big Jeff is Big Jeff. This is a guy that, when you look at, you take the ACL out of it, he'd have been a really, really high draft pick. Okay, just because of what, just size-wise. Now, Aaron Donald, guys, having been with Aaron Donald, physically, mentally, in meeting rooms from day one, this guy has got a temperament and has got, first of all, his work ethic is second to none. All right, second to none. And then plus, his hand usage, his quickness, and then look, this guy has got amazing strength. I mean, it's otherworldly strength. I can remember first on, I was just talking to Mike Waffle, who was his defensive line coach who drafted him, who's retired now, but was one of the best defensive line coaches in the league, along with Jim Washburn. We were laughing about one of the first times Aaron Donald, when we drafted him, we had our first 9-on-7 drill in training camp, which was, always gets a little bit live. And one of the interior offensive linemen made a bad mistake of trying to cut him from the backside. The next thing we knew, Aaron Donald had him by the face mask, was dragging him around the field. Nobody could pull him off. Then he yanked the face mask off his helmet. I mean, you had screws flying, and he's standing there, and then he threw the face mask at him. And we went, whoa. Well, that's the kind of dude he is.
Yeah, you would go, I ain't messing with him.
Zero messing with him. Coach Mack.
Zero messing with him, but his work ethic is second to none, guys, and his off-season preparation is amazing.
Just like Coach Max, who joins us every Tuesday.
Yeah, you can just go to his Instagram account. I checked it out a couple of times, see his work out there. I was like, whoa, just in the weight room alone. Well, Coach, naturally, the Senior Bowl is going on. A game that I played in has kind of evolved and changed a little bit with Jim Nagy running the deal. But everybody's always going to be watching the skill guys. But when you kind of go down there, where does your attention and eyeballs go to? I know you're not there now, but when you typically go and what are you looking for when you're looking at players?
It's different. That's a really good question, Blaine, and it's different because I've coached in it about 5 times. I was the head coach one year for one team, and Holmgren was the head coach for the other. So I think it's the way you go down there. I mean, if you go down there as a coach, as a position coach, you clearly look at your positions. You go down there as a head coach, you're kind of looking at what you think your team might need. If you're coaching in it, then you're trying to learn who those guys are in the meeting rooms and everything like that. And so, now, when I look at it, Mike Keith's down there. He's going to do the game on Sirius XM radio.
Oh, cool.
He's went down there Monday. He's been in all the meetings with Sirius XM. He's going to do the game. He's going to be the play-by-play voice with Pat Kerwin and with Jim Miller. And so he's down there, and so but all the information that you get now, and the practices will be televised starting tomorrow and Thursday. So, you really, and when you go down there as an assistant coach, to answer your question, they kind of give you a list of people that they want you to look at that the scouts have put together. And it's different when you go down there as a coordinator, then you look at your guys on that side of the ball. And if you're a head coach, then you're kind of looking at the whole spectrum of it. So it's different eyes for, where you are in your career looking at it. And then it's different if you're coaching it, because then what you want to see is, as I said, kind of how they interact, because, on the field is something else, but behind the scenes, how they prepare, how are these guys interacting with their teammates, that's the plus of coaching it, which I said, I think 5 or 6 times I've coached in that thing.
Well, let's take us through. Let's just use quarterback, because that's the easiest for everybody to understand. When you were coaching, what were some of the traits and things that you were looking for to make the quarterback stand out different from the other quarterbacks? Not just his arm talent. You're looking at all those things, so you can kind of talk about those things too. But what else are you looking for besides those?
I had David Carr when he came out.
Okay.
I had the South team. I had David Carr. The thing that I really liked about him was the way he interacted with his teammates. And you can kind of tell. And even though you're together for just a week, the guys that guys gravitate to, they kind of come to the top, right? I mean, and you can see it. I mean, you remember the linebacker Will Witherspoon from Georgia?
Sure.
He played for us, here. Then he went to the Rams and played. We brought him to the Rams. He was a captain, on that team defensively. And so those kind of guys, you kind of look and see how everybody gravitates to them, because everybody's got some sort of physical talent, or they would not be there. And especially with what Nagy has done, he's done a great job of bringing guys in and really scouring and finding guys, from all the different levels of ball to bring in there. But that's the biggest thing I looked at. You talk about a quarterback. I wanted to look at, because physically you can discern a lot of things, but how does he handle the team, and how does the team, not only the offensive team, Blaine, but how does the team react to him? That to me was important.
I'm Coach Mack.
Coach, fantastic stuff, and can't wait to talk to you next week, and then got a Super Bowl coming up we'll get to talk about in a couple of weeks. Thank you, sir.
Guys, it's always a pleasure being on with you guys. Mickey, heat up your food. See you.
All right, Coach Mac.
Appreciate it, Mac Attack.
Giving us the Mac Attack. All right, when we come back, we got a couple more phone calls. We've got topics on the table. Who's the goat of goats? Do you eat your food cold or do you heat it up if you're just joining us? Also, I have I shared it earlier when you get into the goat of goat discussion. Unbelievable Wayne Gretzky stat I'll share with you next. Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We've got several topics kind of bubbling out there. Who is the GOAT of GOATs? And also, do you just eat your food cold? Because apparently I've angered many of you, although some have agreed with me, including Just Saying on Twitter, who said you never microwave meat. Which I'm 1,000% on board with that. Microwaves aren't for meat. Wayne Gretzky stat for you. We're talking about the GOAT of GOAT discussion, and you can pick who you want, but this is just maybe some of you didn't grow up with hockey or whatever. Wayne Gretzky still holds or is tied for 60 NHL records.
That was crazy when you said that.
He's the all-time leading scorer in the NHL. He has 2,857 points.
We're about to go through all 60 of them?
No. Next behind him in scoring is Jaromir Jagr, who has 1,921. He has almost 1,000 more points. Gretzky has more assists alone than anybody else has total points. He has more assists. So that's just crazy. So we have GOAT of GOAT questions. We have other things. We also have, will you eat your food cold or do you? Chris in Nashville has been holding for a minute here on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Chris, am I a sociopath for not nuking my meat?
Meatloaf, yes. Meatloaf is only to be eaten hot. The greatest cold food of all time is pizza. You want to know why?
Wow.
Because they named a sports talk show about it.
Oh, I got you. That's a good show.
It was a good show. I watched it all the time. But, I mean, yeah, meatloaf has to be eaten hot. But I do like the pan, the cooking it in the pan idea for heating a pizza. I do like that. I actually will try that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Chris. That's a good call. Somebody suggested take your meatloaf, put it in a pan and fried, and then make a sandwich out of it. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else said we had so many calls because Blaine said, "Okay, let's just pick one food because the universe is too big. Just meatloaf, cold."
Because you use that as an example,
right? I said, "What about meatloaf?" And so one guy just said, "I take it out of the fridge. I put mayonnaise on bread. He makes a meatloaf sandwich out of just mayonnaise, cold meatloaf, and bread."
Cold meatloaf. Wow.
And then other people said, "No, cook it like a hamburger." Put it in a skillet.
Skillet and back and re-warm it up. Yes.
And reconstitute it as a different food.
That's all I'm doing. I learned, my wife taught me that. And that's why I said put it back in the pan. The pizza, she would do that. I'm like, damn, why didn't you just put it in the microwave?
Okay.
Nope. And it tastes like it's fresh, like you just got it again.
Okay.
And so you do that with a burger or anything else that you're warming back up that's a meat.
That's a meat from the meat family.
From the meat
food group of meats. Okay, I'm about to tell y'all something.
Lucas is Googling this.
Lucas is Googling meat right now.
No, I'm sending our podcast descriptions to our guy, Andrew Malone, who does our podcast. And sometimes I just look down and I think, what a dumb job. What a dumb and awesome job we have.
Okay, here's my greatest example of how I do what I do.
We talking about as far as
hold on, Kirk.
As far as your meat eating?
Yes. Hold on, Kirk. I'll get to you. I promise. I'm not going to leave you hanging because Kirk has been holding the next longest. On Thanksgiving, I eat my lunch. Then at some point later in the day, I get everything out of the refrigerator and I get 2 slices of bread. I take dressing cold out of the refrigerator, spread it on the bread. Then I take turkey or ham because we're not big turkey people, whichever one, and both if we have both, and I put that on top of the dressing. Then I take the cranberry out of the can, and I cut some of that, and I put that on the sandwich, and then I eat that on whatever kind of bread we have.
That's good.
All cold. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Oh, that's okay.
But turkey can be cold. I mean,
but what about the dressing, though? I don't heat the dressing. I just spoon it on there and slather it on cold. Well, I use the dressing as a condiment almost.
Yeah. If you're going to do a sandwich, like the dressing or any meat or anything, then it has to be either all hot or all cold. Right.
It can't be like the McDLT. You don't remember that, Lucas.
No.
It's the hot and cold sandwich from McDonald's. All right, Kirk, in Nashville, finish up this discussion. Hey, Kirk, how you doing?
How you doing, Blaine? I have a question for you, sir. I took a long time to get on here to you. Blaine, please answer these 2 questions. For all the Titans fans out there, which is more concerning going into the offseason? Blowing a 21-3 lead at home because your quarterback self-destructed in the second half, or having the number 1 defense and allowing a game-saving drive in 13 seconds with all the momentum, and then allowing an overtime touchdown to win the game? And next question, please allow me to answer this. Please explain about how great of a defensive play those 2 tipped interceptions was on Ryan Tannehill, and if the ball had to fall perfectly, and 10 more times the ball would not fall directly into the person's hands like they did. And explain how great of a play that was for the Cincinnati defense, as opposed to Ryan Tannehill just throwing interception in somebody's breadbasket.
Well, that was a lot there in a nutshell. All of the above as far as the first question entirely with everything that was going on. But I'll be real quick. The cornerback, Eli Apple, did not respect NWI going deep. So he let him break his cushion, and he had no thought that he was going to run past him. He set on the route, and then he got to make a play on the ball. And the tip was, it is where it went. It's no rhyme or reason why it went that direction. They made a play, and then, they got a interception by the linebacker there I think he led the team in interceptions, by the way. So, yeah, but that's the way it goes.
There you go. He'd been waiting to ask you that, he said, for a long time.
But what was the last question on the food, though? That's more interesting. There was no last question?
No. It was all football.
No.
We'll just remind you, don't heat your meat.
Mm-hmm. Just put it in the skillet. Cook it like you're starting from scratch. And then, in the meantime, in between time,
with your meat time.
Yeah.
Always have it.
Peace.